In this video, we are going to understand about techniques of coping with stress. So we know that life without stress is not possible. And also we know that the effects of stress is harmful for our health. So we need to learn how to pacify or how to cope with the stress. So the question arises is what is coping of stress means, or what is avoiding of negative effects of stress means. It means to make an attempt to satisfy the environmental demand. It means to make an attempt to satisfy the environmental demand. So we know that when a stressful situation occurs, there is a demanding situation which requires our energy, and to satisfy that environmental demand is known as coping with stress. Okay, so to cope with stress, what is required is an individual has to continually examine their environment, that is internal and external environment. Okay, so for coping with stress, an individual requires to examine the environment, both internal and external. So what does internal and external environments include? The external environment includes opportunities and challenges that are faced by the individual, and the internal environment includes the skills of an individual to adapt the changes. Okay, so along with this examining of internal and external environment, what other dimension is required is personality dimension, and it includes optimism, detachment, hardiness, and unchangeable trust for goals, etc., which reduce and moderate the negative effects of stress. So along with examination of environment, that is internal and external environment, person requires his personality dimension, which would be optimism, detachment, or hardiness, or unchangeable trust for goal, which will help in reducing or moderating the negative effects of stress. Okay, so generally what happens, what process generally an individual takes while he faces a stressful situation. So first of all, he tries to evaluate and understand how far it is harmful or beneficial. So first of all, he tries to define the situation, he tries to evaluate, and he tries to understand how harmful or beneficial the present situation is. And then he tries to think what to do about the problem. So after defining, he comes to the next step, that is what to do about this problem. And then he arrives at a solution to this problem, and he formulates new course of action and identifies the best alternative. So after defining the situation and thinking what to do, he arrives at a solution. And then he formulates new courses of action and identifies the best alternative. So he decides a solution and he formulates certain set of solutions, and among that solutions he chooses the best alternative to cope with the stress. Okay, and sometimes it may happen that the person has no time or chance even to make an evaluation or think about the problem. At that time, some of the coping actions emerges into operation automatically and spontaneously. So what happens is, this is the basic course of identifying a situation and coping with the stress. But sometimes it happens that an individual may not have time, or he may not get a chance to evaluate or to think about the problem. So what happens is that at that time, the coping action emerges spontaneously and automatically. And such reactions, which are part of the survival mechanism, are called built-in reaction. So when an individual does not get a time to react to it, or he does not get a chance to evaluate the situation, he reacts automatically and spontaneously, and that reaction is a part of our survival mechanism, which is called built-in reactions. Okay, so some of those are physiological and psychological changes that come into operation. For example, a person starts crying to bring relief in pain and emotional strain. So if a person is facing pain or emotional strain, he will start crying. So crying is the built-in reaction, that is a survival mechanism that is generated automatically or spontaneously because the person was not able to evaluate, or he does not get a chance to evaluate the situation. Okay, then the man adopts certain strategies or techniques for relieving stress, some of which are natural, some are habitual, and some are learned. So to cope with the stress, the person tries to relieve his stress based on certain strategies or techniques. So some are natural, some are habitual, and some are learned. Okay, some are natural, like built-in reactions. Some are habitual, which got through the habits, and some are learned. Some techniques are learned by the individual to cope with the stress. Okay. So over here, coping reactions can be divided into 3 broad categories. That is task-oriented techniques, emotional-oriented techniques, and ego-defensive techniques. So let us understand it one by one. So first one is task-oriented techniques. So what happens in this technique is that it directly deals with the stressor demand. Okay. Here the adjustive mechanism may be through overt behavior or psychological process. The objective of this reaction is to achieve realistic adjustment. Here the effects are based on objective assessment of the stress situation and on a deliberate, logical and constructive course of action. So what happens in this technique is, this technique directly deals with the stressor and the demand. So it will directly deal with the stressful situation. Over here, the mechanism that is accepted makes an adjustive combination or the adjustive situation with the stressors. Okay, and over here it is done by the overt behavior or a psychological process. So over here, whatever individual will do, it will result into an overt behavior. That is, we can see with our eyes that what person is doing to cope up with the stress. Okay, and the objective of this reaction is to achieve realistic adjustment. So this technique leads to a realistic adjustment with the situation. Okay, and the effects are based on objective assessment of the stress situation and on a deliberate, logical and constructive course of action. So effects of this technique is based on the assessment of the stressful situation and a deliberate, logical and constructive course of action. So what course of action you will take and how you have assessed this stress, based on that the effect of the technique would be seen. For example, to make changes in oneself or change the surrounding or both, the task oriented technique may be external, that is improving the atmosphere, or it may be internal, that is like covert, like changing one's attitude. So over here example is given that if one needs to change in oneself or he needs to change his surrounding, then he can apply this task oriented technique in such a way that externally he can improve the atmosphere and internally he can change his attitude regarding the surrounding of oneself. So this is how the task oriented techniques work. So there are 3 forms of task oriented techniques which deal with the stress. So the first form is dealing with the problem headlong. So what this form includes that either the individual removes the threat object, source of the problem, weaken the influence of the obstacle or destroys it. So dealing with the problem headlong means that you entirely remove the threat object or you entirely remove the source of the problem. Even it includes weakening the influence of the obstacle. So the obstacle that is causing problem to you, you will weaken that obstacle only, or either you will destroy it. So this is the first form of task oriented technique, that is dealing with the problem headlong. So for example, if a student who failed in an exam, he will work hard and he will pass. So what does that mean is he failed because he was not prepared for the examination, and now he is dealing with problem, he is directly dealing with that problem, that is he is preparing for that exam, and so he will pass. So this was the example of task oriented technique, that is the form that is dealing with the problem headlong. Okay. Then second form is withdrawing from the problem situation. So what you do in this form is you withdraw from the threatening situation, you compromise or you discuss, etc. So what happens in this situation is you generally withdraw from the problem, you try to avoid that problem. For example, if a student failed in his exam, he will either stop giving the exam or he will either leave the studies. So he has withdrawn from the problem. He knows that he failed in the exam, so he does not want to face it or he does not want to try any other technique. So entirely he withdrawn himself from the problem. So he will not give the exam, or he will, in fact, he will not study itself. Okay. Then the third form is some other mechanism, to try some other mechanism. So what happens in this is to resist the stress and tension, to enhance one's fighting and resistance ability, or to reduce the strength of the stresses. So what does the individual do in this situation is that either he will resist the stress or tension, or he will enhance his fighting or resistance ability, or he will reduce the strength of the stressor. That is, he will apply some other mechanism to solve the stressful situation. For example, if a person failed in an exam, so to confront that situation, he will accept a compromise, or he will accept a different path to deal with the situation. For example, if a person failed, so he knows that he cannot study, and he will try some other mechanism. He will try his hands on music or sports. He will lead towards music or sports. Okay. So these were the task oriented techniques. Now second type of technique is emotion oriented techniques. So now what happens in this technique is the individual makes efforts to bring change in his own thoughts and emotions. So when an individual tries to make change in his own thoughts and emotions regarding a stressful situation, that type of technique is termed as emotional oriented techniques. Okay. So this emotion focused approach is more remedial than the problem solving approach. So why it is called it is more remedial than the problem solving approach? Because if you adjust your thoughts, if you adjust your emotion, it would be beneficial, because sometimes it may happen that you may not be able to deal with the stressful situation, or you will not be able to control the situation with the problem solving or the task oriented techniques, and so during those time emotional oriented techniques come handy. Okay. So what happens in this technique is self control and emotional regulation are more important. So to have effects of emotional oriented technique, what is more important? Self control and emotional regulation. For example, controlling anxiety, frustration, anger and other emotional reaction, or trying to change this emotion. Some people, to relieve the tension, may take alcohol or tranquilizer, which provides temporary relief. So what happens is you try to control yourself, you try to control your emotional state, you regulate your emotional state, and doing so you either control your anxiety, you control your frustration, anger or any other emotional reaction, and you try to change the emotion. So what happens is some people even try to take tranquilizer, or even they resort to taking alcohol, so that their emotional state is distracted from that situation. Okay. And also many people, they try to adjust by watching TV, or they try whistle and laugh, or overeat when they are anxious, or they engage in daydreaming when they feel helpless. So these are all techniques that people resort to while having emotional oriented approach. So either they will watch TV, or they will whistle, or they will laugh, or they will even eat more than their diet, or even they will resort to daydreaming. So doing so for a short period of time, they distract their mind from the stressful situation. But such emotional distraction are for short period of time, and it may lead to diversion of your attention, or it may lead to negative effect, reduction in negative effect for a short period of time. So if you want to have a long lasting effect, then you must take the emotional focused approach, in which you change your attitude and feelings towards the particular situation, rather than resorting to this short term solutions. Okay. Then the third technique is ego defensive techniques. So what happens in this technique is that for coping, the person primarily tries to protect oneself psychologically from emotional hurt and self-devaluation. So what happens is to protect oneself psychologically, that person tries to save himself from emotional hurt and self-devaluation. So these mechanisms are learned response, which tend to operate on habitual and unconscious level. So what happens is these responses are learned, these ego defensive techniques are learned, and they tend to operate on habitual or unconscious level. So a situation occurs, then a person will impulsively move into defensive technique, because they are the learned one, and that operate on the habitual or unconscious level. Okay, so unconscious is that person is not aware what he is doing. So at that level, this ego defensive technique works, and this ego defensive technique is adopted so that the individual can save himself psychologically from emotional hurt and self-devaluation. So there are generally 12 ego defensive techniques. Here few are given, that is repression, denial, rationalization, projection, etc. So what happens in this technique is that if a person is in ego defensive mode, and that is he has chosen denial, so he will deny, for example, he will deny the bad effects of smoking. If an individual is like chain smoker, then he though he knows that it affects negatively, but he will try to pacify himself, he will try to pacify his psychological state by denial, saying that the smoking does not have any bad effects. Then if the person has chosen the rationalization as ego defensive technique, so what he will do is he will make a logical reason that why that particular situation happened. So for example, if a situation is difficult to accept for that individual, he will make logical reasons that why it has happened. For example, we can say that for a natural disaster, an individual say that it was a God's will. So he resorted to rationalization by saying it was God's will, and we cannot do anything in that, because that situation, that natural disaster, was not acceptable to him. And if he resorts to projection as a ego defensive technique, then what he will do is he will project his self on the others. For example, if a individual is cheating in a relationship, then he will think that his spouse is also a cheater and he is cheating him also. So for example, if you are cheating in an exam and if you are getting high score, then you will think that the first ranker also cheated in the exam and so he scored high. So this is the projection ego defensive technique, and all these techniques are used to defend themselves, and such ego defensive mechanism which indulge in reality distortion and self deception. So though these ego defensive techniques are habitual and operated at unconscious level, but resorting to this technique or this defense mechanism will indulge into reality distortion or self-deception. That means the reality is distorted, means you will not see what the reality is, and also you will be self-deception, you will feel self-deception, means you are means आप खुद को एक तरह से चकमा दे रहे हो इस डिफेंसिव टेक्निक को यूज करके. So this mechanism unconsciously protects the person from internal mental anxiety and pain, but leads to distorted interpretation of the reality. This technique may be helpful in protecting the person from mental anxiety or pain, but it leads to distorted interpretation of the reality. So what is reality? You will be going opposite from that course, okay? And if it is used, it is overused, then it will lead to maladaptation or maladjustment. So if this defensive ego defensive technique is used, that is overused, then it will lead to maladaptation or maladjustment. So the primary aim of this ego defensive technique is to cushion failure, reduce anxiety, repair emotional hurt, and thus maintain person's feeling of adequacy and worth, and protect one's feeling of being useful. So what is the primary aim of this defensive technique is to cushion failure. That is, a person if fails can cushion himself. That is, he can logically derive that why this happened. Though it is distorted from the reality, but he will feel that because of this certain situation he failed, it will reduce his anxiety, it will repair his emotional hurt, and thus it would maintain person's feeling of adequacy and worth, and also protect one's feeling of being useful. Okay, so these were the 3 techniques of coping with stress, namely task oriented techniques, emotion oriented techniques, and ego defensive techniques. Okay.